In some respects, it's odd that they're not selling them as a fixed rate. So you just buy one box, 3 coaches in. But given the cost of doing that, I can imagine that that would probably put some people off. Hi there, welcome along to another Jenny Kirk video, and we're doing a box opening and review, but this is actually something a bit special. Just picked these up today. They're new out from Bachmann. I've been waiting for these since I think about 2014 when they were announced, and I ordered them, so it's really nice to finally pick them up. So we're going to have a closer look, but this very much is the first time we're going to have really taken a good look at them. So you very much are looking at them for the first time with me. So let's take a look. Well, we've actually got here, you can see at least one of the items that I bought, item number 39600. This is the box that they come from China in, but it's been repurposed so that I could get my complete set of the Birdcage coaches in the Southeastern and Chatham Railway livery. I've been so looking forward to these, so I'll show you the ends there. I've got 39600, 39610 and 39620, and the idea behind these is that they made up a set of 3 in Southeastern and Chatham Railway use, and certainly into the Southern Railway period and on into BR life. These were formed into semi-permanently coupled rakes, so they wouldn't really have parted company for a long time, and these 3 are intended to run as a fixed coupled rake, so it would have been rude not to get all 3, even though I suspect outwardly at least 2 of them probably look fairly similar. So these would have been permanently coupled in sets of 3, and that's the way I'm going to run it. And certainly with the rise of the Southeastern and Chatham Railway liveries that have come out in the last few years, it really is lovely to finally have something that can run with the H class and the C class. So let's take a look. We've got them wrapped in the tissue paper that they come normally protected in. So this very much is the first chance that I've had to look at the actual ones I've bought. So there we go. Just get rid of that. And there, immediately, we're looking at, this is 39600. So this is the Southeastern and Chatham Railway 60-foot Birdcage brake composite lavatory coach in the Southeastern and Chatham Railway dark lake livery. And over the last probably year or so, there's been so much debate online about what exactly was dark lake livery. And in the case of pre-grouping coaches, there's a number of factors that come into play that make it very difficult to correctly identify that. One of which is the fact that paints tended to be mixed by hand, the pigments could fade, and also not really any colour photography, so it's very difficult to really know what colour these were. That said, I think people have extrapolated from descriptions and also from paint samples that have been found when restoring full-size coaches. Now, the 60-foot Birdcage coaches didn't fare particularly well in preservation, given that I think the last of them was withdrawn in the late 50s, early 60s, and there's only one surviving 60-foot coach. That is actually at the Bluebell Railway. It has been restored into Southern Railway livery, and it survived for a good number of years as I think a gauging coach in departmental use, painted in olive green, and the photographs I've seen of it before it was actually stripped for preservation show it in a very sorry for condition. And it'll be interesting to see whether Bachmann introduce one of these coaches in the olive green engineer's livery, because that's certainly something that I myself would be a sucker for. I really do like the engineer's olive green period, almost as much as I like the pre-grouping. Now we've got this out, and immediately it's interesting, fresh out of the box, but the roof, you'd normally expect this in a brilliant white, but Bachmann have modelled it in a more off-white, almost like a weird grey colour, and that actually, in my view, as a first impression, looks so much better. It looks grubby, slightly grubby. And what you've got to remember is that the real roofs would have been canvas over the teak planking, and then that would be painted and fixed in place with liberal coats of a paint compound known as white lead. Very similar, I suppose, in chemical composition to red lead, but it comes out a white colour. And that's why, with a lot of certainly pre-grouping and Big Four companies, a lot of the wagon and coach roofs looked white when new, because that was the compound that was being used on them. But now look at that. The lining on this is really exquisite. This, I'm almost speechless looking at the representation of the lining. Now, South Eastern and Chatham Railway, they used, I think it's gold and black over the dark lake panelling. And the dark lake, a lot of people ventured that it might be like a purple, but it's more of a sort of a very lustrous brown would be the best way of describing it. But whilst I've got this here, well, the level of detail is incredible, and actually they are faithfully modelled in their pre-grouping appearance. And the way I think I can tell is these mouldings on the roof are accurate for the pre-grouping period, and that's I think it's the electric lighting. The wiring was actually external to the coach and then covered over with wood and sealed in with the white lead. So that is actually very faithfully done. It's not a preservation livery, it really is the real deal. Epoch 2 pre-1923 livery. Now we've got it accurately represented. We've got the second class compartments. Now second class was abolished later on. I think certainly by the time British Rail came around, second class had been abolished. The second class compartments were reclassified as third. And what it actually meant is, for those people in the know, you buy your third class ticket. There was no second class by this point, but you go and sit in what used to be the second class compartments, and you basically get a bit more leg room for the same ticket price. The tampo printing really is exquisite. The door handles, they're all separately applied. There's quite a few of them, and they're really well done. We've also got the footboards on there, separately applied. These bogies, they're completely newly tooled bogies, and it's interesting looking at this. It looks like, certainly on the bogies themselves, I'll talk about this whilst I've got it upside down, it looks to have metal pickups from the axles. Yeah, it's got these kind of older style plastic axles to electrically split it, such that the wheels will pick up, and I think the centre bearings are electrically conductive. And there appears to be, there's an electrical connection going up into the coach. And now, because I'm not able to run these, I can't test whether these will actually light up or whether it's an optional extra that you fit it yourself, but you've got the means for it to pick up the power from the rails. But that's certainly an interesting point to see that come as standard. The underframe details are very, very finely moulded. In fact, if I hold it like that and just push on that, you can see the flex on that underframe. It is so finely modelled. That is just amazing. We've got a full detail of the inside, flush glazing, and it's actually the flush glazing is done really, really well. We've got accurate representations of the smoking compartments. I think that would be the toilet compartment, the lavatory compartment, because they're not corridor connected. And then we've got the feature of these coaches which gave them their name, namely the Birdcage. And this, if I turn it round there, is this raised, almost a cupola style piece, very much more reminiscent of the North American brake fans. And certainly these were used instead of ducats so that the guard could look down the entire train and see what was going on. So it was an alternative to the ducats, and it is so lovely. The representation of the windows, everything, that is so nicely done. We've also got there 138, the coach set, I think that will be. That's I talked a little bit about this at the beginning of the video, that these would be semi-permanently coupled together as a fixed rake, and that is the rake number 138. We've also got some separately applied detail there, and the buffers are actually fixed. They're not sprung. And again, as I've said before, it's not an issue in my book, and if it keeps the cost down, because these are very expensive coaches, I've got these at £51 each, so anything that helps keep that price down really has to be welcomed if it doesn't detract from the detail too much. Going back to the underside, we've got the close coupling mechanism in there as well. The bogies pretty free roaming there. We've got the brake cylinders there. Everything's represented. I'm still quite taken away with the pickups that it's got for internal lighting. I will investigate that further at some point in time, but for now, at the very least, what I can say is that it has the electric pickups ready to fit a coach lighting bar, but I don't think it's actually got one ready fitted. And there's a good representation of seating in there, and just everything about it. The louvres on the side, they are moulded on by the look of it, but they look like they stick out, like they're real. And that is it's just exquisite, the detail on this. Everything is perfect. Again, I think, maybe I'm just getting generous in my old age, but what I'm seeing here is another 10 out of 10. So we really do have another 10 out of 10. I know, with the USA tank, it very much was the first time I'd given it, but the quality of these models is exquisite. Now, I'm going to put that there, and let's move on to the next one. And I've got every faith that these are all of the same quality. So 39,610. And this is the Composite Lavatory coach. So this would be the middle, I suspect, of the set of 3. So let's see if we can get it out from its tissue paper surround. Again, I've not had a look at this yet, so let's see. Right, I see. So we've got, again, exquisite finish. But this will be the first class and second class, again with a lavatory, which presumably means that the second class passengers would share a lavatory with first class passengers. So I wonder how well that went down. And one thing actually I just noticed, I think it's this. Yeah, it's the same on the other one. I'll just point it out. We've also got the only pieces in this that are user fitted. They appear to be representations of the coupling draw hooks. So we don't get close coupling bars, which we did with the Mark I coaches. So I'm not really quite sure how it will go together. I don't think that these are usable to actually couple the Rake together, but certainly they're there if you want to fit them. And I did notice on the coach there is a hole in the sole bar just above the coupling there to take them. But I suspect looking at it that you'd have to find another alternative method to couple these coaches together, because that's going to hang down into the area where the coupling takes up. But let's get this out now. And yeah, this is the centre coach for the set. And originally when these were announced, I thought, well, I'll get one of the ends and the middle coach, and that'll be fine. So I've got the cupola and I've got the middle coach. But really, to be honest, with the rise of these exquisite, fully lined out South Eastern and Chatham Railway locomotives like the H-Class and the C-Class, I thought, no, come on, don't be stupid, get yourself the full set, and really, I don't regret it. Now, I got these from Arcadia in Shore, so big up Tim there at Arcadia. He held these by for me. I've had them on order since they were first announced, but when I got there, he says they've sold very, very well, and certainly by looking at them I can see exactly why. These are the coaches that just sell themselves. But he did have at least one set on display that was, at the time of me going in there earlier on today, was still there. So if you're very, very quick today when this goes up, which is just the day after that I've bought them, you might be able to get yourself a full set. But I've heard it said that they're actually sold out at quite a number of retailers because they have, despite the price, proven incredibly popular. Now, the standard of finish on this is equally as good as the last coach. You can see we've got the slightly bigger windows. Yeah, slightly bigger windows for the first class. And there appears to be, I'm not quite sure, we've got the 2 first class compartments there, and we've got another one there, but then there appears to be, I'm not quite sure, I'm looking in there. Oh, I see, there's like a centre table, and it's like, where all the poshy people can sort of sit around a table and be sociable. So I don't know whether you would have paid extra back in the day to sit in that compartment, but it's certainly got a little bit more than the other seats. But it also strikes me that, actually, looking inside, it's interesting. The these coaches don't have corridor connections, but they also don't appear from the inside that's all in there and moulded in. They don't appear to have a means for anybody in, say, that compartment to go and use the loo. So I'm not entirely sure how this would work. I suspect that, I'm just having a look in there. Yeah, I suspect that there's only certain compartments had access to the loo. Maybe you paid more for a compartment that could access the toilet. I'm not really quite sure how these things used to work. Health and safety wasn't really a thing back then, so who knows. We've got the same bogies fitted, again the same electrical pickup, same close coupling mechanism, but we have a slightly different underframe with what appear to be, yeah, we've got battery boxes, and I suspect one of the reasons that these were coupled together in a semi-permanent set is that this is the coach that has the dynamo to charge the batteries to power the electric lights. So if you separated the set and say ran this coach on its own, the electric lighting wouldn't work because it would require the batteries and dynamo from the centre coach. So that makes a lot of sense, I suppose. Now, I alluded before that there's only one surviving 60-foot birdcage, but it has to be said that the South Eastern and Chatham Railway kind of brought out a slightly different coach, it seems, every single year that they built new coaches. And there are a number of, I think it's 50-foot and 54-foot birdcage stock that does still survive. So there are enough coaches that a reasonable representation of a set can be made up on. I think the Bluebell Railway is where a lot of these are based. But there's only one coach which roughly matches the coaches here that Bachmann have introduced. I'm just looking at this. It really is blowing me away. There's not really a lot more I can say about this that I haven't already said about that coach. So I'm going to put that there. And we're going to move on to the final coach of this set, 39620, and this is the other end of the set. So I'm going to slide this out. And I'm going to be reasonably quick because I'm getting warnings of low battery on the camera. So whilst I get this out, talking a little bit about the South Eastern and Chatham Railway, formed in, I think it was 1899 by the amalgamation of the South Eastern Railway and the London, Chatham and Dover Railway. I think I've got that right. And they kind of amalgamated, and they were actually very innovative for their day. A lot of their rolling stock and locomotives lasted right through to the BR period, things like the Mosul N class. But also, certainly once the stock passed through into Southern Railway ownership, it did travel much more widely. Some of it even ended up on the Isle of Wight in use there. So in terms of prototypical accuracy, Bachmann have produced it in the Southern Railway green, this lake colour for the South Eastern Chatham Railway, and also a BR crimson colour. Now there's some debate online whether it also reached being able to be presented in Southern Region green, and there's a jury's out on that. But certainly, I'm more than happy with these. So we've got the other end of the rake, and this we can see all third, as opposed to that which is the third and second. So it really does just blow me away. We've got all the same features of all the others. Electric pickups from the wheels for lighting if you want to fit it. Close coupling mechanism, very detailed underframe. And these underframes, let's have a look. We've got, yeah, it's the same underframe for both ends of the set, but clearly before, as I explained, they've tooled up a accurate underframe for the middle section. And we've got a pretty accurate interior. Yeah, as we can see, these aren't actually identical coaches, because if you look where the lavatory is, that is slightly different. So yeah, accurate representation of both coaches. They're not just merely reliveried duplicates of each other. So that is three completely separate coaches that Bachmann have tooled up to make this set. In some respects, it's odd that they're not selling them as a fixed rate. So you just buy one box, 3 coaches in. But given the cost of doing that, I can imagine that that would probably put some people off the upfront cost of buying 3 of these, even discounted, as I got from Arcadia Models. It still came to over £150. That's a lot of money. Unfortunately, these high prices, I think they're here to stay, so it's something that we're going to have to kind of budget for and get used to. But that said, with these coaches, Bachmann have left me feeling 10 out of 10 for all of these. They might be expensive, but they feel like they're worth every single penny. Anyway, I hope that has been very informative to take a good close look at these new coaches from Bachmann in this pre-grouping livery. I think it's the first time ready-to-run coaches have been released in a pre-1923 livery. Now, I have to say at this point that normally with something like this, we'd like to get a little bit of footage of it running in the shed. But unfortunately, due to circumstances beyond my control, I'm not able to do that at the moment. I'm going to talk a little bit more about that in Monday's video, which will be the next one that goes up after this, if you want to take a look at that when it goes up. And I'll explain a bit more. Now, it's nothing to do with what's happened to the shed. Nothing's happened to the shed. It's what's happened to me. So I'll let you have a look at that in Monday's video. Anyway, until next time, you take very good care of yourself. This is me, Jenny Kirk, saying, don't forget to like this video, share it too, and also subscribe to the channel. You'll be the first to know about new videos as and when they go up. But until next time, you take very good care of yourself, and bye for now. Today's video has been brought to you by my books, Bringing Home the Stars, Twinkle Little Star, and also you can get the complete comic collections of All Over the House, Books 1, Books 2, and also the wacky zany Life of Knob T Mouse. Thanks, and catch you later.